Go Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Gentlemen,
Adam,
we watched a stinker last night. Holy smokes!
I mean, listen.
Hats off to the Flames and their fans. Great start.
Well, what are you talking about? Oh, you're not a Montreal Impact fan?
Oh no, I'm not a Montreal Impact fan. I was watching you know what? I'll be honest. I missed the first two goals because I was watching the TFC spank Montreal, even though it wasn't really a spank.
The Leafs owe like a national audience in Canada an apology. They absolutely 100% do. Because that game started at 8:30, which means it started at 6:30 in Calgary, which means it started early. So already, Eastern bias, we are altering their usual schedule for us, the larger audience out east.
Jesse, why are we doing that?
Because we're the best.
Also the biggest, like by far. Stop complaining about it. But anyway, so they've already altered their schedule because of that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, TFC is playing the biggest game in their franchise's history, and even if you're not a big TFC or even soccer fan, you're tuning into that because it's the final minutes. It's overtime,
And it was phenomenal.
in a game that decides the final. It was amazing. I mean, what was the final score? 5-2?
5-2, but it
What is
was
this,
only 7-5 on
lacrosse?
aggregate. Yeah.
Which is aggregate silly, but that's another,
I like
that's
aggregate.
another conversation.
It was kind of cool. I enjoyed it.
Like Montreal could have lost 5-3 and it would have been tied. Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's the dumbest
Who
piece of
support aggregate
garbage.
in the NHL.
No, absolutely not.
Why
I think
not?
it's awful. I hate aggregate. Boo. Boo aggregate, I say.
In fun stat, across all the four major pro sports, 54% of the time the home team wins. It's consistent throughout all four sports.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 54% of the time the home team wins.
So fighting for home ice advantage, when you think about that, I mean, yes, that's sort of a big thing. But if you were to break that down over the course of one team, if it's 54% of the time, is home ice advantage even that, or home field that important?
I would say yes.
A lot of teams
'Cause
miss the
inevitably
playoffs
you
by
will-
1 or 2 points.
Okay, fair. You will play at home pretty much in every sport, right?
Yeah, you know
get
who's
there
stoked
eventually.
about this? Whoever the top team is in each World Series going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just took that out.
And
But
baseball
anyway.
is all percentage.
Yes. So they alter their schedule so that the Leafs and Flames can play a little earlier. There's this big playoff game going on, so some fans are already going, I can miss the opening few minutes of this game. And
Which
then,
turned into 2 periods.
yeah, bang, bang. 2 goals in the first 49 seconds. And right away, everyone's going, well, not watching this. They change the channel to the soccer game. They go back once the soccer game's done. It's 3-0 Flames. Well, I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to go to bed. The Leafs owe everybody an apology. Leafs fans, Flames fans, TFC fans. Babcock.
I have to
Well,
say,
and he took some ownership of it post-game, but like...
I love that Dougie Hamilton was one of them.
What?
The goal scorers.
No, it was Freddie.
Oh,
It was
Freddie.
his
It was
brother.
Freddie Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
that was a mistake. I'm like, there's no way Freddie Hamilton scored. It's got to be Dougie. It was Freddie.
It was Freddie.
Oh my God. Okay. See, this
Which
is
that makes it worse, doesn't it?
yeah. That's how you can tell I was watching TFC. It does make it worse.
The Leafs got scored on by a Hamilton, and it wasn't even the best one the Flames had.
And
Also,
it wasn't.
Hamilton. Ew.
Because of the city?
yeah.
I was like, I heard it's
wow.
very... I heard it's a critically acclaimed show. Like,
Alexander Hamilton. That's all I know from that show. I want to see.
yeah, I don't know anything.
My favorite guy in American history was always Alexander Hamilton. It's my favorite.
Same.
I took American
I don't know,
history.
I don't know.
I have to know my culture.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Very cool.
Culture.
Very cool.
You know, last night I think a lot was made of Chad Johnson, and
Stop 39 shots.
I think a lot should be made of that. We talked about it in the last episode about, Brian Elliott and his performance and how do you get out of it when Chad Johnson's hot?
Well, and then you look at the Flames who need every point they can get, and like how many wins does Chad Johnson have to string together for him to just be the starting goaltender, like permanently?
It's a good question.
Remember there was that rumor of Brian Elliott getting an extension?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, if he had gotten that extension, they would actually have to figure this out.
Yes, they would.
They would actually have to leave him in and just go through the growing pains and let him figure it out. Now, it might just be they keep Chad Johnson and flip Elliott if they can.
Well, and what got to me, I thought, was like, Brian Elliott apparently, well, Doug McLean said it on the broadcast last night. He said he's a good teammate, he's a good guy. But you got to think, like, damn, like this is the time where Brian Elliott should be shining. This should be his team. That has to be, as a player, I don't know how you handle that mentally. And I'm sure at this point in his career, he knows how. Yeah. But still, that has to eat at you. And I wonder if that isn't a self-perpetuating kind of thing where the next time you get in, you're like, I got to be really great. I better be really great.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think Matthews is going to go on a 13-game goal drought for a while. Because there were so many times, forget the hitting the post. We're talking about point-blank chances and he's firing them wide. Because he's gripping the stick. And then guy can't stop scoring, except for when everyone stops scoring. But that sucks real bad for Brian Elliott. And I don't know what happens to him now because the goalie market is so weird because of Vegas.
Well, I think with the second that Chad Johnson cools off a little bit, they'll give him a break and Brian Elliott goes in and hopefully he plays well.
Yeah, it is also December 1st.
Yeah.
Like we do got to remember that.
Last year, December 1st, Montreal was the top team in the NHL, if I am not mistaken.
I think you're right.
And then I think it was December 3rd, Carey Price got injured.
Re-injured, I think.
Re-injured, right. Mm-hmm. And didn't play again. Mm-hmm. Like literally at this point, it's all
Pittsburgh and San Jose were either like on the bubble or out of the playoffs.
We were saying Jim Rutherford might lose his job. It was a podcast around a year ago at this point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I remember that. Because
it was like, oh, you're screwed. You got so many contracts. You get... And it's just a head coach change and you're good.
Yeah, not to rip on Edmonton, because God, the Leafs played such a good game against the Oilers, I thought. But I saw one Oilers writer like 2 weeks ago go, you know what? The Oilers are in a playoff spot in mid-November, and history shows that if you're in a playoff spot now, you usually end up in one. And I'm like, did you watch the NHL last year?
Yeah.
Did you see who was in the Stanley Cup final?
He might be playing the percentages, which in which case he's right. But look at the Ducks, the Sharks, and Montreal last year. All teams that flipped.
Yeah.
Ducks started slow, San Jose started slow, Montreal started hot, and opposite happened.
And you can say, well, with Montreal, it can be explained by this. In Pittsburgh, it can be explained by this. Well, those things happen every single year. Mm-hmm. Every single year.
To every team.
Yeah, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Do you guys want some of the standings from December 1st, 2015?
Yes, we do.
Ooh, yes. Do you have the final standings?
I can bring those up as well.
Yeah, I would like the side by side, just because I don't remember.
You want them back to back.
Back to back. Well, because I don't remember everything that happened. I'm not smart.
Well, Jesse's pulling that up. I think that we need to talk a little bit about the Dougie Hamilton stuff. So a few passionate Calgary Flames fans reached out and said, they're not trading him. And then Brian Burke, who is probably the most passionate Calgary fan now, is saying, they're not trading him, and it's not a media cooked up story. It's actually a general manager. What he said to Tim and Sid, and this is interesting, he said, a general manager called and asked about Dougie Hamilton's availability. Mm-hmm. And what he said to a couple other general managers was, I have an offer in on Dougie Hamilton. Now, the Flames outright rejected it, but it doesn't mean that he didn't have an offer in, which then, now 4 teams know about this phone call, and 2 teams have a differing view on what actually happened. Actually, 3 of the 4 teams have a differing view. Sprung a leak, and to the media it went.
This is all very interesting. I like the game of broken telephone that's been played. You know what? We'll get to that. I want to hear the standings.
Okay.
Because I have a theory on the broken telephone thing.
Okay. Yeah. I'm excited to hear it.
All right. The top 5 from December 1st, 2015 was Montreal, Dallas, Washington, New York, St. Louis.
And then the Rangers, was that a wild card spot they ended up in?
At the end of last year?
Yeah.
They did. They ended up 9th overall.
Oh, okay. They were in one of the Atlantic spots.
Yes, they ended up in one of the wild cards.
Oh, it was a wild card. Okay.
Yeah. So no, 3rd in the division.
Can we do conference?
That's a spot. That's a legit division spot.
Yeah.
Can we do conference by conference here?
Sure.
Instead of overall?
Yeah. Conference was Montreal, Washington, New York, Pittsburgh, New York, Boston, Ottawa, Detroit.
So Pittsburgh was 4th?
Yeah, in the conference.
At the end of the season?
At the December 1st.
Really?
Get out.
Yeah.
Was their losing streak through December and January then?
I think so, yeah. They had a real bad December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I remember correct.
It just, the wheels fell off. And I know they tried Kessel with Crosby. That didn't work. They tried Kessel with Malkin. That didn't work.
Also, Jesse, what's the gap between 5th and 10th?
In the conference?
Yeah.
Well, Montreal had 19 points and Pittsburgh had 14.
Okay. But, like, who's underneath Pittsburgh?
Underneath Pittsburgh, the Islanders at... those are wins. My bad. 30 points.
I was about to say, that seems like not a lot of points.
30 points for the Islanders, 30 points for Pittsburgh. And then Montreal's at the top with 41.
So it's tight.
Yeah.
It's tight. So a losing streak in December, a losing streak in November, those are devastating to the standings at the time. But you can recover from them.
The Leafs sat at 21 points. Third last in the division. In the conference, sorry.
But again, how many back of like playoff contention?
Because they had a terrible October and had a pretty good November.
They had a great November. Yeah. Again, for the second straight year, they've had a great November.
Yeah, Detroit sitting in the last playoff spot with 30 points.
Oh,
from
okay.
The Wild.
So, they were kind of far back. But they did play catch up until they very did not play catch up.
Stripped it off.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, Calgary played the game that Calgary should be capable of playing. We saw what the Calgary Flames should be night after night, I think, last night.
Amazing what the Flames can do when they have a little bit of goaltending, which is what I said all summer long. All summer long. And I thought Brian Elliott was the answer. And I was half right.
I still wonder if they've set their expectations too high.
For the team or for Chad Johnson?
For the team. I wonder, and I stick by that, not because I have a hate on for the Flames. I think they've got a really strong defensive core. I wonder, and I don't know the answer to this, but I wonder if right now, in the stage of development that they're at, a lot of their big players, Dougie Hamilton, Sean Monahan, Gaudreau's out.
Yeah.
I wonder if those guys, it's like, hey, let's not saddle them with expectations of the second round here. Let's just focus on taking a step forward. And Monahan and Gaudreau, yes, they just signed big boy contracts, but they are paid on what they've already done. They're not paid based on what they will do per se.
No. Gaudreau and Monahan?
Well, I know they're long-term deals.
They're paid on what they're going to do.
But they're expecting them to basically perform just a little above what they did the last couple of years, right?
If I'm Calgary, I'm expecting the playoffs.
Yes.
Because you are young, improving, and your goaltending was shocking, and you addressed that, you thought. And it looked real shaky off the start, and now it's improved again. But for every young guy that you mentioned, I don't know how old TJ Brody is, but he's like a little older than...
He's got to be 27, 28. Giordano's over 30.
Yeah, there's Gio. They gave a boatload of money to Troy Brouwer, was another guy. Or was it Troy Brouwer?
Yeah, he's making 4.5.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Derek Engelland.
Derek Engelland, yeah.
Dennis Wideman.
Slightly different situation. Dennis Wideman.
But
they got some older guys.
But the guys that you are relying on to carry most of the play are I would say, well, you got Giordano.
I think it's a balanced attack. I think you definitely have your upper guys, but it's a balanced attack. Johnny Gaudreau has the potential to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Monahan has the potential to be a star, I think. I think it's Gaudreau as your top guy, and then it's relatively balanced after that.
I just don't think they should be upset, especially with Gaudreau's injury now too, and him starting late and all that stuff. I don't think they should be upset with, they should be upset if they don't make the playoffs. But I think anything after that, realistically, I think that they are capable of much more than that.
Yeah.
But I don't think setting the expectation and going, well, we're abject failures if we don't make it into the second round. That's my point. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that's fair to the team.
I don't think teams really care how you get in. Just get in. And if their expectations are playoffs, I don't think they care if they win the Pacific or get the second wild card.
Right. Just get in. Get in.
Just get in.
And Calgary is such a fun city. I hope it happens for them when the Red Mile lights up, man. Oh, so cool.
Alberta deserves consistent playoff hockey.
Especially against each other. I really hope the Flames and Oilers play each other. How great would that be?
And with the new division realignment, if they get good, it's likely. Leafs and Habs.
Oh, that would be amazing. That almost happened.
That
almost happened a couple years ago.
Lightning and Panthers.
Until the Leafs fell off the freaking bus.
Yeah, it's basically just been like who's really gotten the benefit of this? Like the Californian teams and
New York. I like the Pittsburgh Philly series a few years ago was great.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh Philly.
I
That's
like
true.
it. I don't know if that was before or after the division realignment though, but damn, that was a good series.
Too.
Oh,
it was the best. It was the best. I remember there was one game in particular I made. So I was working at CBC at the time, and I was doing the highlights. So I would just write the highlights and compile the clips with one of those. I'm doing my finger motion. It's like a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I was working with an editor, and the editor was getting so pissed at me because he just wanted to go home. Like, we had the potential to go home early that afternoon. But
was this at the CBC you said?
yeah, this was at the CBC. Oh,
Union.
yeah. Oh, love that union. Gotta love that union. But he was getting pissed, but I'm like, dude, he's like, you can take this out. This doesn't need to go in the highlight pack. This doesn't need to go in this. And in this guy's defense, highlight packs are usually like 90 seconds. But I'm like, man, the game is 8-4. Like, take out that Wayne Simmons goal. It was on a breakaway. Take out this fight. You don't need that fight. It's Sidney Crosby versus Claude Giroux. Take out this fight. It's Malkin. Take out this fight. It's Letang.
Yeah.
It just everything happened that game. And I remember it ended up being over 3 minutes long. He was pissed. He was pissed. But he came in the next shift. He's like, you're right. That was a crazy game.
Now, I don't have any of the stats in front of me, but if you were to have with Edmonton with McDavid on the ice versus Edmonton without McDavid on the ice is, from everything I've read, two different teams.
Did you read the Dmitry Filipovich tweet?
I did not read that. No, what did he say?
He said the Oilers with McDavid
McDavidite.
Yeah, the Oilers with McDavid on the ice are like the late 2000s Red Wings, and the Oilers without McDavid on the ice are like the Oilers. Which is scary. Oh yeah, it's bad. The chasm of difference is
they're
bad.
better. They are better.
Well, yeah, because they have McDavid. Can't take him away. He's an Oiler. So you go, oh well, without McDavid, that's like, oh well, without Price. Well, the Habs have Price, and the Oilers have McDavid. Those are players they have.
So who wins the Calgary Edmonton series this year? Starts now.
Ooh,
Gaudreau's in though. Everybody's healthy.
Yeah, everybody's healthy. Ooh.
Because you can argue Calgary's got better defense and a far more balanced attack.
And the playoff experience too. I think that counts. They're a little bit more experienced.
Been there, grizzled vet Johnny Gaudreau.
Been there. Or Gio though.
Absolutely. No,
Gio, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
21.
I know what you're saying. I might give the goaltending advantage to Edmonton. Because Chad Johnson is a bit... that's a pleasant surprise. Cam Talbot, you have
consistent.
more faith to do better. Because over a long period of time.
Are we expecting Chad Johnson to keep this up?
Not his almost Vezina-like pace, no.
No.
But he maybe be the starter, win more games than he loses.
And Brian Elliott is not a bad backup. He's been in the playoffs always.
I would suspect Chad Johnson will go down a bit, and Brian Elliott will go up significantly. Like, history suggests Chad Johnson's not quite this good, but it also suggests Brian Elliott is nowhere near this bad.
Now,
so
do you think, though, I mean, because one of the complaints I heard from Calgary fans, and obviously not following the team as deeply as I follow the Leafs, one of the complaints they have is they see their better players, their better younger players, being Randy Carlyle, basically, put on the fourth line, playing 5 minutes a night. Not used properly. And I wonder if Calgary would get outcoached. Now, I don't know how good. I mean, it's 20 games into this guy's career. It's not really fair.
McClellan's got quite a bit, yeah. Quite a bit of coaching experience. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought of that.
It would be. I hope it happens. Fingers crossed.
It'd be just such a fantastic series. Like, you know how we're all just gaga over Kadri and his start, and we're talking about him like he's Patrice Bergeron, Pavel Datsyuk. Mm-hmm. I think Oilers win that series, we start talking about Nugent Hopkins the same way, because they're going to give him like big boy assignments. Your job is to go after Gaudreau. Your job is to go after Monahan. Your job is this guy, that guy, that guy. He'll be their shutdown guy.
What would Lucic's job be? Just going through people?
Yeah. Oh, God. Playing him with the Oilers made me realize how glad I am he's not in the division anymore. Not because I was ever afraid of him as a player. I mean, there was a time where Milan Lucic really instilled fear. Now it's, this again. He's always gonna. It's always the macho man thing, man. It's always the bumping someone after the whistle. It's always and then it seeped through the Oilers, snowing the goalie, the face washes, and I'm like, this is a knockoff of the old Bruins.
You said that last show too. Like
yeah. And then someone tweeted me like, "Oh my God, is this what Pete Chiarelli is creating in Edmonton?" And I went, "Oh, I forgot he was the GM." Like, I didn't even make that connection when I said it, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe he is just building a cheap knockoff."
And maybe that's what I would imagine. That's probably what they are after.
Maybe. I mean, the Oilers don't have their Chara, but the Bruins didn't have McDavid, so I don't know. I think, look, Oilers fans were way too down on themselves after that game, and I think Flames fans were way too down on themselves after the slow start. Both teams deserve to feel great. They should feel great, despite varying results against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Has Jonas Enroth played his last game as a Toronto Maple Leaf?
I hope not. My LFR video, well, I guess it'll be up by the time this podcast is up. So, here are your options, Leafs fans, because everyone's like, "Oh, bring on Ramo. Bring on Ramo." Okay, let's say someone gets hurt. Let's say Ben Smith gets hurt. Okay, just put Josh Levo in the lineup. Or no, Ben Smith gets hurt, but he's not on the IR. Let's put Josh Levo in the lineup. Well, Levo's hurt, supposedly, but let's pretend he's healthy. You can't just throw him in because of the Peter Holland situation. So the Leafs can't add to their current roster, right?
Because even though Peter Holland is sitting at home.
Yeah, the Leafs can't add Josh Levo, who's someone they already have, to their lineup, let alone someone new in Ramos. So if the Leafs trade Holland and Levo comes off IR, they still need to make room for Ramo. Well, what about Jeff Glass? He looked good in his one game with the Marlies. Same thing. Can't fit him. What about Garrett Sparks? He's suspended right now.
What about Antoine Bibeau?
AHL goalie of the month in October, and ever since, been brutal, which is just so... Leafs fans, if you haven't been paying attention to him, welcome to Antoine Bibeau. Just, this goalie is so frustrating because 1 week he's dominant. He's the best goalie in the league. And the next week you're like, this guy's an ECHL backup.
Is the roster problem solved when you take Enroth off?
See, but this is the thing, though. In order to add anybody, people have to go. And
so
what
Enroth goes
to where? Who needs a goalie?
Free agency.
You're not going to waive him.
Free what? You put him on unconditional waivers? And
why not? If we don't need him, if we have Ramo.
Now, when you put someone on unconditional waivers, you still their cap hit still counts, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's only
about that. I assume there's a reason that most teams don't just do that all the time. There has to be. You can't just terminate a contract like it's the KHL.
Okay.
I bet he makes $750,000, so they could send him down, and he'd have to clear waivers, but they'd be able to bury the whole thing.
These roster issues matter. So Elliot Friedman said on the broadcast last night, the Leafs are trying to trade Peter Holland, but the belief is they want to get rid of him for a pick. And the reason they would want to do that is because they don't want to take on another
contract,
another roster spot. Not just a contract, a roster spot, out of their 23. They're not just worried about the 50, they're worried about their 23. So they got two numbers they're worried about now, right? I think the Leafs are at 48 contracts, and they're filled up to the brim 23 roster spots, right? So I think lots of teams would take Peter Holland, but they can't unless you take something back, which the Leafs are not willing to do. Okay, maybe there's a few teams who would like Jonas Enroth. I don't know how many teams are able to, for a pick. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll give you, we'll take Jonas Enroth, but you have to take this guy. No, you don't understand. We can't do that, right? So the Leafs are in this really tight bind. They're hell-bent on making Frank Corrado a Christmas ornament. You can't, the reality is starting to become you can't carry 8 defensemen. Especially if you're not going to use one. That's the reality.
It's depressing. It's depressing for them. I can't imagine what Frank Corrado's going through right now.
Oh, it's
terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I think I wonder if the Leafs were counting on like an injury or two happening by now. Just because law of averages, you're going to get one. If they had an injury, it would almost make life easier.
Yeah, well,
they would
it did.
almost.
It
Yeah,
did.
They would almost
when
be able
Hudlock
to,
was out, it was like, wow, this is a lot easier.
Yeah, it's that temporarily solved a bunch of problems because he missed like 6 games. That's like 2 weeks. It temporarily solved a couple issues. And Levo was on that conditioning stint. It was great. So I think, despite their crappy effort against the Flames, which was really just a crappy 49 seconds followed by a pretty decent game, there's all this minutia. They got to do something with Peter Holland, hopefully get rid of him for a pick. You got to decide whether or not you're going to stick with Enroth, because Ramo is not a guaranteed solution, and neither is Jeff Glass, and neither is Garrett Sparks, and neither is Antoine Bibeau.
Well, and was in your mind watching him last night, he didn't seem like he was ready.
The first goal was a mess, I thought. It was a defensive mess. My Kadri for Selke campaign took a hit on that play. The second one, like just such a gross rebound. And right after, like 20 seconds after, next shift. And it was 2 different lines. There were 10 different players on the ice for those goals.
Wow.
So it's just the team was not ready. And Enroth is on the team, and he didn't look ready, right? So played a decent game after that, I guess.
They're going to be bag skated.
Oh, yeah. They're skating to Vancouver right now. They're spending the next 2 days skating to Vancouver. And I say this in the video. This is the most highly anticipated game of the Canucks season coming up. This is probably the most highly anticipated game of the Leafs season coming up. Might be the most highly anticipated Hockey Night in Canada matchup so far this season.
And who thought it would be Leafs Canucks?
Oh, I know. And you better be ready. You better be ready for it. The Leafs better play one of their best games of the season. Canucks too. They better both bring it. Yeah, again, I think it's the minutia. You got to somehow get rid of Holland for a pick. If you're getting rid of Enroth, it has to be for a pick or something. Even make it a conditional one. A conditional 6th, and the condition is whether or not he resigns, and then he doesn't resign, therefore you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. You can't have Frankie Corrado anymore. I'm taking that toy away. You don't even play with it. And then something that could solve a little bit of issue is the Leafs can retain salary on 2 guys. You did Milan Michalek wrong. The Leafs did Milan Michalek wrong. They begged him to waive his no-trade clause so that they could take him from Ottawa. That's the only way that trade happens. And he agrees to it, plays a few games at the end of last season, plays a few games at the beginning of this season, and they shove him in the American Hockey League. They did Milan Michalek wrong. Retain salary, he's in the American Hockey League anyway, and ship him out of town to anyone who will take him for whatever. That relieves one roster spot. Colin Greening was in the American Hockey League anyway. Maybe you leave him there. What about Brooks Lake? No one wants Brooks Lake, even if you retain half. They're both rough sells, but I think the little tiny moves the Leafs can make. Everyone's thinking big, Dougie Hamilton. No. They got to take care of their own house first. So I think it's stupid little things. Peter Holland, Jonas Enroth, Frankie Corrado, and 1 or 2 of Colin Greening, Milan Michalek, Brooks Lake. It's so silly that is what is affecting Matthews and Nylander and Kadri and all that they've built. A team that is very clever at maneuvering is backed into a hole a little bit. They're kind of paying for their sins a little bit, right?
And I think they took that on knowing that they would.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you nailed it, Adam, because like Michalek was a necessary evil, right?
You had to take that money.
You had to take that money. You got rid of Phaneuf. You got a pick. You got a prospect. Fine. Brooks Lake. You got Connor Carrick out of it. He's in your lineup. You got a pick out of it. Okay, fine. Colin Greening was another necessary evil, part of the Ottawa deal. Peter Holland, I still don't understand why you re-signed him if you knew you weren't going to play him. Frankie Corrado, same thing.
I remember interviewing him on Breakfast Television last year, and off the air here, I said I interviewed Peter Holland this morning, and the season was already over, and he was representing the Leafs, and I think, Steve, your reaction was, well, that's the last time. You know, because we all and that's not a swipe on Peter Holland. We just thought that both sides were done with each other, right?
It had nothing to do with me thinking he was a bad player.
He's not.
He's
not.
Some people say he is, but like I think he's an NHL player. It's just it seemed very obvious that like I think his minutes went down. Mm-hmm. Then he was on the fourth line. Then he was fourth line wing, so he's not even playing his position anymore. And then he was just not playing at all. And that was another guy who started the season, was given a leash the size of an elastic band, and then just told, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone, get lost. It's all very weird. So they got a little bit of housekeeping to do. You know, then you can focus on the Hamilton stuff.
Here's the thing. I think only one of Greening, Mahalik, and Like will go.
Fine.
And
there's one.
And I think
we got one.
I think it will be Mahalik, and they will retain salary, but they're not going to be willing to retain salary on Brooks Like and Milan Mahalik unless it is the trade deadline. Because they already have to retain on Phil Kessel. Your maximum retention is 3. So as soon as they don't want to hamstring.
I don't think it's the Leafs. I think it's the other team.
I'm sure the other team, yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you could, I mean, the Leafs could pay $4 million for those two to not play for them. So you retain.
Maybe a little bit more. Because Like is 4.5.
Okay, so
Mahalik's 4.
They are UFAs at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm saying use those 2 retention spots, and then at the end of the season you're back to 2 again.
Right, but you want to have some retention spots, at least one open for trade deadline. I think.
I don't think the Leafs are going to do what they did last deadline.
What if someone comes along and says, Roman Polak, but you got to retain salary, and you can't? That's my point. Matt Hunwick, but you got to retain salary, and you can't. Not
That's
that Matt Hunwick.
Yeah, so
Hunwick is unlikely, but Polak, yeah.
You got to have options.
Maybe.
Can you wait out those 3 contracts? Can you just wait till
You can, but then so I'm trying to provide options, right? Mm-hmm. You can wait out those contracts, but that means Holland and or Enroth and or Corrado. Right? So there's these little
I don't think Corrado's going to see regular playing time until Roman Polak is traded.
Get rid of him. You're telling me no one wants this young
I think they do,
defenseman?
and I think the Leafs know that. I think the Leafs want him.
You can't have them. You're not using them.
Do you think that Lou Lamoriello cares?
He should.
Hang on to that.
There's no way he wants to be part of this organization right
we
now.
have
There's
to
no
go
way.
we have to go to break.
Sure.
But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Brian Burke leaky rumor thing, which came up,
right.
which created the Dougie Hamilton to Toronto story, which when you objectively look at things is sort of ridiculous, and we'll explain why when we come back on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. All right, so we were quickly, just before the break, we were talking about the Oilers, McDavid, and the fact that they are 2 different teams. They are the team with McDavid when he's on the ice, and the team when he is sitting on the bench grabbing some water.
And Jesse did a great job finding this from Copper and Blue from Sunil, I think. Sorry, I'm more of an Oilers Nation guy myself. It's a chart of the Oilers with and without McDavid. It's something.
Okay, so what do we know? Give me the highlights.
Corsi for percentage with McDavid on the ice, 55.16.
Which is well above league average.
Super good. The Oilers without him, 50.19. Still positive.
Average.
Still positive.
But that 50% is about average,
It's
right?
ever so slightly above.
Right.
It is, yeah, so that's not bad. Scoring chances for percentage. Without McDavid on the ice, 45.7%. Of their scoring, 45.7% of the Oilers' scoring chances come without McDavid on the ice. Okay. 62.32% come with McDavid on the ice. And their goals for percentage. Only 46.3% of the Oilers' goals are scored when McDavid is not on the ice.
Wow.
64.71%. Wow.
So they're sort of the NHL's Erie Otters.
A little bit.
Shut down McDavid.
And Connor Brown is whoever's on his line.
Yep.
Yeah, boy. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. It is amazing that the Oilers really are. McDavid is so good.
But the Oilers aren't that much better.
Well, no, though. But because he's so good, you need, like, 1 or 2 more competent pieces up front to just make that team monstrous.
Yeah.
The more difficult that second or third line is to deal with, McDavid's that much more deadly. Jeez, I would love to know what the home and away stats are. Like, because on the road, you're able to zero in on McDavid a little bit more. At home, you're just screwed. You're just screwed. You have to deal with the McDavid show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that is a good player. That is a good little player. Holy.
Now, we were also talking about, and Steve, you have a theory about the Dougie Hamilton to Toronto rumors. So actually, there's a great article that you should check out at sportsnet.ca. And, besides all the Flames fans passionately yelling at us going, they would never trade him, Brian Burke went on Tim and Sid yesterday, and he said, it was so funny. He said he skates like a deer. He's 6'5". He's a good person. I was like, I didn't know deer could skate. Actually, if you've ever seen deer on ice, not pleasant.
No.
But I'm pretty sure he meant he can skate well.
It's a compliment. I think Burke is one of those guys who would just, like, if you were at the bar with him, he's the guy who he's your friend, but you're almost afraid to talk because he's going to give you crap if you mess up. It's like me at my in-laws' dinner table. Scottish relatives, I cut there was a ham. They made a ham one Halloween. Idiot. Thanksgiving. A ham. Yeah. They made a ham, and I cut it funny. Like, I cut it on an angle, and it ended up, instead of being a slice of ham, it was like a doorstop. It was like a piece of cake of ham that I cut. That was over 9 years ago. It is still talked about with regularity. And I heard about it the rest of the night. Hours and hours.
So hold on.
I think Burke, I don't think he was trying to insult him. I think he's just one of those guys.
Oh, no, he wasn't trying to insult Dougie Hamilton at all. He's trying to say what a great skater he was. No, for sure. It was, he skates like a deer.
Oh, was it?
Like, he's fast.
Did he just
Skates
use a bad analogy?
It was an Adam Wildism.
Oh, no.
He did.
He talked about Dougie Hamilton's back shins.
Yeah. His hair pants.
Oh.
How do people, by the way, people were confused by what hair pants are.
Picture pants made of hair.
Yeah.
Now wear them.
It's not a common thing, though.
Hair pants?
Yeah.
Being hairy is pretty common.
But it's not a common thing that comes up in everyday life.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Hair pants is, I'm pretty sure, a term I just came up with.
I think
on my
you
own.
did, yeah.
I think it's a fairly common,
But it was so good that I instantly knew what you're talking about. When Brian Burke says skates like a deer, we're unsure whether he means Bambi or a deer that's running away from you that's really fast.
Okay, here, this is just for YouTube. So most people, picture yourself. Now imagine a pair of hair pants. I'm putting them on.
Putting your hair pants on.
All right, that's me. That's me. That's what I look
hairy.
like. And now you know.
Have you guys
disturbing.
Have you guys seen the stand-up pants challenge where you have to put your pants on but you can't use your arms?
Everything is a challenge now, and it's very annoying.
I know.
Yeah. Have we reached peak challenge?
I think we've reached peak challenge.
Like, we're done with the challenge.
Challenges are like the new crying Jordan of memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it reached peak challenge when the backpack challenge came along.
What was that?
You run through people throwing backpacks at you.
Oh my God.
In high school?
That's just high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge.
Why can't it just be called recess idiocy? Like, it's just, growing up. Good for you, Adam. Good for you.
Anyway, so Brian Burke's on Tim and said,
yes.
I want to set this up again just because, for anybody that's just tuning in.
I talked about hair pants and the backpack challenge.
So Brian Burke is on Tim and Sid, and he talks about how this Dougie Hamilton rumor started. Now, his theory is that it was not a media-cooked story, although there was a couple people who were really going after it, and I was kind of like, where's your proof coming from? Anyway, evidently what happened was a general manager called about Dougie Hamilton and said, we will offer you this if you're interested in listening. And at the same time had told two other people, well, we've got two other GMs. Oh, we got an offer in on Dougie Hamilton. The Flames said, well, we're not listening on Dougie Hamilton. But then the general manager who initially made the offer isn't calling the other two back going, oh, they rejected our offer on Dougie Hamilton. Like, he's not following up. Now, Brian Burke is on Tim and Sid, and he's indignant. He's mad, and he's wearing the tie. I don't know why he bothers with the tie at this point.
He's got to stop it.
Just take the tie off?
Get a clip on, dude.
Like, you don't need to sling it around you. It doesn't look good.
Ties aren't even in anymore.
No, just take it off.
It's like he's a wrestling character, and this is like his thing.
That's his like Ric Flair robe.
Exactly. So he's got to wear it.
I mean, it's kind of a crappy prop, but I get it. It's signature. No one else has it.
It just looks so sloppy, man.
I can't wait till he's commissioner one day, and he still just dresses that way.
Oh, me too. Oh
yeah.
I would say that to him here, although I'd pee a little.
What's with your tie, man?
What's with the tie, Bri?
Yeah, he's pretty big. I've stood next to him. He's pretty huge.
He would be if I could interview anybody in hockey, it would be Brian Burke.
Yeah,
he'd be on this show, Brian Burke.
That's just like, I've met people as tall as Eric Lindros. I've met people as heavy as Eric Lindros, but there's something, he's just big. I don't know how to describe it. You would just have to experience it for yourself. People say the same thing about Ovechkin. There are lots of people who weigh what Ovechkin weighs in this league. There are also guys who are like 6'2" or 6'3" like he is, but there's something about him. He's just built like a Jeep. He's just enormous. Anyway.
What's your theory?
Well, my theory on the Dougie Hamilton broken telephone stuff kind of comes actually from the Peter Holland news.
Okay.
So we know about the Peter Holland stuff because his agent was speaking to people. His agent.
Lou could not have been pumped about that.
No, but Lou did have to. He did say something publicly.
Because you kind of have to if the player's not traveling.
Yeah, you got to explain. You can't just be like, it's a secret. Ooh.
It is Lou.
It is. You know what? I said he can't. He absolutely can. He just chose not to.
Right.
It came from the agent. I have a real hard time believing Lou was one of the GMs Brian Burke was referring to, or even one of the Leafs assistant GMs. I have a hard time believing that. And I think the Leafs are so airtight that people are just kind of manufacturing Leaf connections to this.
Oh, I don't think there's a Leaf connection here.
Because of hearsay. I think they're getting secondhand information. And the only way to create a rumor with the Leafs is to literally just create it yourself. Because they're not creating their own anymore.
No, they're not.
They're not. So that's my little theory there.
I think that's a fair thought.
I
also don't think it was the Leafs that inquired about Dougie Hamilton.
Look, there's guys who used to have connections with the Leafs. Kick under the table, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Who might have connections to people in
There's
Toronto?
guys who super used to have connections to the Leafs who right now, I'm not convinced they do anymore. You know what I mean? So when they say things, I'm like, well, I think that's your theory, and I think it's a nice theory. I don't think it's based in fact necessarily. It's, for example, if you were to hypothesize that if the Leafs had Jimmy Vesey, maybe they wouldn't need William Nylander.
That's
No.
I think that's nuts.
I think
that's nuts.
Look, he's a very talented winger. So is William Nylander. Your hypothesis is if you had one, you would have a surplus, a bigger surplus than you already have, and you can trade another. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying I get that theory.
Yeah, I remember that Kane Sharp Hossa thing never happened in Chicago. That
didn't work out.
Damn, I hate scoring wingers.
Yeah, I know. But
especially elite ones.
Yeah, oh yeah. Look, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I get where the theory's coming from. I'm just saying I don't think the theory came from anywhere other than hearsay. Logic and hearsay. It didn't come from someone saying this. Here's the case.
Here's the illogical part for me. Where does this make sense for Calgary? I mean, we come at it from a Toronto perspective.
Yeah, what do they need?
I don't know that I mean, everybody can use a William Nylander. If you have a rookie that projects to score 65, 70 points, you're not getting him. But tell me how, forget what you can get for Dougie Hamilton. Losing Dougie Hamilton, irreplaceable. And like I said, go to sportsnet.ca, check out Andrew Berkshire's. He ran the numbers on Dougie Hamilton and just how good he's been this year. Mm-hmm. And, last year there was a bit of a growth period where, he was kind of getting used to the system, and it was Bob Hartley's system. And now the whole team has to readjust because there's a brand new system in place, and a lot of people are criticizing it. I feel like Dougie Hamilton, I think the Leafs know Dougie Hamilton. To get him, they would lose overall. Like you would have to move so much to get him that it would not make sense in the end.
What's that saying? Cutting off your nose to spite your face?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, killing a strength to address a weakness.
Steven Stamkos once told me, back when Guy Boucher was his coach, Guy Boucher told him to work on his strengths 80% of the time and his weaknesses 20%. His weaknesses will come up a bit, but focus on your strengths because that's what makes you special. So imagine if Stamkos put all this focus into becoming a better defensive forward.
And not his shot.
But yeah, and didn't focus on his booming slap shot. Or, what have you. Imagine if Ovechkin just stopped working on his shot. Imagine if Conor McGregor just stopped practicing his left hand.
Yeah.
Those are your signatures. Right? So the Flames have this glut of defensemen. You could definitely trade one of them for some other need in the organization. The Leafs have way too many wingers, I think. You could trade one of them to address a need, or you could just be like, look at all of this, and you can Scrooge McDuck, swim through your surplus. Mm-hmm. You have something that not necessarily every other team has. Why not embrace it?
The Leafs are at the point now where, when the free agents leave this year, like all the free agents that leave this year, there will still be no roster spots left next year.
Oh,
there's what do they need to add? I mean, they could upgrade some skill, but they've got NHL players playing on the Marlies right now.
Let's assume
two lines worth.
Let's assume the player the Leafs lose in the expansion draft is one of Martin Marincin or Frank Corrado. Unless there's a trade that I can't forecast. Kadri's going to be on the team next year.
Mm-hmm.
Komarov's going to be on the team next year. I don't think anyone on the Marlies is kicking Connor Brown out of his spot.
No.
Zach Hyman is only getting better.
Still my man.
Austin Matthews, get out of my face. William Nylander, unless he's traded for Dougie Hamilton. Soshnikov.
Bozak, JVR. Maybe. There would have to be a trade, though. Matt Martin. Maybe Ben Smith, but I don't know.
Ben Smith, and who else is on that line?
And Ben Smith, Matt Martin, and William Nylander, actually.
It was Nylander. No, who the hell? Oh, Sosh. It was Sosh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess William Nylander.
And you could argue that...
So, Ben Smith, one spot. You got one spot. Hooray. And it's a center spot. Brendan Leipzig, I would say the Leafs' most worthy prospect, doesn't play that position. So does Nylander have to shift back to the middle, or something's got to happen?
They're actually probably going to have to trade from the forward position.
God, every time the Leafs piss me off and ruin my night with a game like the one against the Flames, I start dreaming again, and I go, oh gosh, this is so exciting.
Well, they almost have it. I'm looking at the draft picks over the next couple of years. What is it, 14? 16? 16
they got a lot. They still got...
What are they going to do?
One or two, at least one or two of the Sharks. Well, and it's interesting because they got all those older guys who are all of a sudden going to be ready for at very least pro sooner than anticipated. Yegor Korshkov was a second-round pick last year. He's already 20. He's doing really well in the KHL. I don't know when he's scheduled to come over from the KHL. You got Adam Brooks, who is just dunking on the WHL. Like, he's too good for it. He should be in the A. He's not. Jeremy Bracco, too good for the OHL. Far too good for the OHL. Too bad. He's there. He's not one of the older guys that they drafted, but he's older now because he was picked 2 years ago. Carl Grundstrom, he's probably going to end up on Team Sweden for the World Juniors. Like, yeah, there's a glut, man. Now I'm excited again.
Well,
you know what? Keep Enroth. He's fine. He's roster spots for everybody.
I think what we're seeing right now is the Leafs in an awkward, like last year, transition period. But this is the awkward preteen stage where your limbs are a little too long. You've got braces and you've got acne. Like, there's some really great spots, but then there's some blemishes.
Adam at age 18.
Yeah, my preteens lasted my entire teens.
I'm one to talk.
No, it's true. I got better and then I got worse.
Yeah,
like I had a little pocket where I was like, oh, it's okay, and I lost a tooth and then gained weight and then that acne. It was just
Adam
terrible.
Made a sacrifice because you got braces late.
I did.
My dentist, when I turned 18, was like, you could get braces. And I'm like, and I could punch you in the face. I am not having braces going into my first year of university. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
There's someone listening right now going, shut up.
Oh, and I had the clear braces too. So every time I drank coffee, it turned yellow. It was a nice shady yellow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, oh, come kiss me. Get over here and kiss me. Literally, I think there was a point when I was 17, I think it was 17 and a half which I had just got my braces on. And I want to say it lasted until the end of first year university. Even later.
Is this before or after Halifax?
This is before Halifax.
Halifax?
So basically, yeah, I was like a year and a half where I didn't even kiss a girl. Like there was no date, not just kiss, no dates, nothing.
Not one single kiss?
Not a single thing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it sure did. It was tough on Adam's confidence.
Oh, geez, Adam. Oh, gosh.
Kisses? I wanted to date Cindy, who was a Sagittarius, but it just didn't work out. Anyway, so I was
hoping we'd do the whole show like that.
Yeah, well, we should probably
calm down, Jesse.
How many people will be offended by this? I hope
everyone.
People currently in braces.
Man, I've been there. I can make fun of people's braces. I had them. I went there.
It's not just the look. Like I asked someone we went to high school with who had braces forever, and I knew they were getting them off in a couple months. And I was like, "What are you going to do when you get your braces off?" And they were just like, "I'm just going to sit there and lick my teeth."
That's what I did.
I was like,
by the way, anybody with
sounds
braces?
Like an awful existence.
Anybody with braces listening to this right now? It is the best feeling. So you have like Christmas waiting for you whenever that happens.
Christmas.
So be excited. We got to wrap it up on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. The podcast is brought to you by Panago Pizza. It's what's on the inside that counts. You can download it at sportsnet.ca. And by the way, this continues. There's more to come. More to come.
Oh my goodness.
Including Steve throwing me under the bus last episode. And we'll talk about that.
Oh, geez.
So Steve, you posted an article at sportsnet.ca about the Doug Gilmour trade tree. Which,
by the way, ended this past summer.
Wow. It did involve a lot of players. So that's
January 2nd, 1992, all the way to July 2016.
See, that is, that's understandable. What, were there 9 players? 9 players.
10. 10 in the initial trade. And then a bunch of those players, I think 6 of the 10 were traded, and that continued the tree. And people, they say trade trees end at the last trade. No, it ends when the last player involved in the trade leaves that team. So Sam Carrick was picked with a pick that the Leafs got in like 2010 or something like that, but he didn't leave the organization until this past summer.
But then doesn't it keep going?
No, because he left as a free agent.
Oh, okay.
So it's
as soon as you leave as a free agent, it's done.
Yeah,
okay.
You're
that's where you cut it off.
You're the genetic dead end of that tree. I don't know if that
makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. The Leafs got Jamie McCowan, and this is why it took so long for the trade to end. The Leafs got Jamie McCowan from the Flames. McCowan was a Leaf for 7 years before being traded to Detroit for a 4th. That 4th was Alex Ponikarovsky, who then was a Leaf for a very, very long time. Hey, he had a decent career. Yeah. Almost 700 games, man. Whatever, I like Pokahowski. Shut up. Don't make fun of Ponikarovsky.
He was at best a third-line winger. At best.
That's outrageous.
He was playing with Sundin, and he was propped up by Sundin.
You're outrageous.
Jonas Höglund would have retired 3 years sooner had he not played with Sundin.
Tell me about Jonas
Ponikarovsky
Höglund.
had 5 straight 18-goal seasons. That's pretty good.
By Leaf standards, why isn't his jersey hanging from the rafters?
Exactly.
Come on.
That was when I saw Antropov and him line up with Sundin. That's when I was like, we're in trouble.
I remember they called it the skyline because it was such a tall line, and Bill Waters got all curmudgeon-y and he went, I call it the flat line. Because it was bad.
You mean, I'm sorry.
Jesse loves old man.
You mean great line. You mean for a change, Bill Waters got curmudgeon-y?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I
so
call
out of
it
character.
the flat line. What do you mean Al Strachan's grumpy?
I remember listening to Bill. And I thought, at the time, I was like, well, his opinion counts for something. He was the assistant GM for a while.
Sure.
And I remember him saying Paul Maurice's first season in Toronto, the Leafs went on a bit of a hot streak in November, December. And I remember him being on Derringer here in Toronto. And Derringer was like one of my favorite DJs of all time, still is. And he said, if the Leafs keep this up, Paul Maurice will win the Jack Adams Award. It was late November, early December.
We have lots of those.
Oh my God.
I mean, Ron Wilson saying Phaneuf is the best defenseman in the league by a country mile right now. But hey, by the end of the season, we might be like, remember when that dick called for Kadri to win the Selke?
We might.
Well,
we might.
But I mean, that's not going to happen. He's going to win it. So.
I just thought it was like when I think back to that, that's one thing that really stands out in my head. And I'm like, that was running the Leafs. That was part of their brain trust.
Pokahosky got traded to Pittsburgh for Luka Caputi and Martin Skula. Luka Caputi turned into...
And Martin Skula never played for the Leafs, but he was pretty good.
He was flipped, yeah. So Luka Caputi turned into Nicolas Deschamps, who never played for the Leafs. He was in the minors. Deschamps was traded for Kevin Marshall, never played for the Leafs. He was in the minors. Skula was flipped for a fifth. That fifth was Sam Carrick. Carrick was in the Leafs organization until July.
I think Skula would have been better had he played for the Leafs.
Well, he didn't.
He should have.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, Leafs wouldn't have had Sam Carrick.
Let's talk about who objectively won this trade. We know, but how much? You were explaining some stats to me on our dog walk yesterday. Because, by the way, I've adopted a dog. I now have a dog. Bindi is my dog name. And she's terrified of everything. And she's from the Dominican. And she's not used to having owners. And she's not used to being crated. So there's a whole bunch of training process. So she's shaking outside yesterday, just terrified of everything. And Iggy's like, play with
I know.
me.
Of course, you got my dog, this giant dragon-looking, never-ending story guy going...
It's like Shaq playing with Danny DeVito. And Danny DeVito's terrified.
What was that movie with Schwarzenegger and DeVito?
Is
it twins? It looks like twins.
Uncle Junior. Isn't it Uncle Junior?
I don't know.
No, Junior.
I ruined it.
Where he's pregnant? Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the one where he's pregnant. Thank you. I've been trying to figure that out for months.
Not Uncle Junior. It's just Junior. Anyway.
I'm old enough that I don't look stuff up. I try to figure it out on myself out of protest.
Yeah. Whenever you ask someone who's under the age of 25, hey, do you know? They'll be like, no.
We had this situation when you guys were trying to figure out the draft pick.
Which one?
On Saturday, was it who Buffalo drafted this past year? You guys are standing there.
Oh, yeah, and Jesse is just looking at us quietly, having already looked it up. And I'm like, no, let me find it out. Jesse goes, Alex Nair. And I go, Alex Nair!
Yeah. And how we didn't know that. I mean,
I just forgot. That was all.
Too many beers. So you went through some actual specific numbers, and one of the ones that stood out to me was just straight up games played.
Oh, and this is just the initial trade.
Just the initial trade.
The initial trade.
Because we don't want to blow the whole article.
Right. The initial trade, Calgary got 499 games played out of it.
Out of Lehman, Walmsley.
No, they got
Berube.
Reese.
Oh, Reese.
Leafs got Walmsley. So it was Gary Lehman, Jeff Reese,
Craig Berube,
Michel Petit, and I know you're looking it up, Jesse, but I'm determined. I got stamina. Oh,
Alex
Godinuk or whatever, however you say his name. So, out of those 499 games, 234 belonged to Craig Berube, and he scored 27 points
in those games.
The Leafs, I don't remember the exact number. I think Jesse has it right there. Well, now I got to look it up. It was it's over 1,000 games played.
Now, and let's also include in that, I mean, we know Dougie Gilmour was the centerpiece of that trade, but can we include in that the fact that it was probably the greatest single season, 92-93 was probably the greatest single season by any Leaf ever.
Ever. 127 points, Hart nominee, I think, Selke winner.
Yeah.
That'll probably never be topped.
What?
Who was the last Leaf? Who was the last Leaf to crack 100?
That'll never.
127? Someone's going to crack 127?
That'll never be topped.
How much did Patrick Kane have last
It's going to take a very long time.
Bruh.
I don't think it was 120.
Pessimism,
he was on pace for a long time.
I think it'll happen. I think it'll happen in our lifetime.
Mitch Martinman or Austie Matman? Correct answer, William Nylander.
The correct answer is actually all three.
At the same time.
Yeah. And Kadri still wins the Selke, though. I'm going to give you that. Yes. But I mean, so there's just that.
Captain Matt Martin.
If they had just traded Gilmour for those five guys, it's still an uneven trade.
It would have been fine. Yeah.
You still think it would have been fine? I think
No. Like, it would have been fine for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Calgary, 3 of the 5 players they got didn't crack 60 games played with the team. Now, I was even generous in my trade tree to the Flames because there was a trade where they got a guy named Tommy Albaline who was decent for them, and also Cale Hulse, who was a decent player. But
I had his hockey card.
Yeah, me too. He wasn't with the Flames for very long. But those guys are shoehorned in because the Flames got those two and someone else, I don't remember who, in a trade for someone down the trade tree. But that someone was packaged in a deal for Phil Housley. So it's not like the Flames got those three players for the other guy whose name I can't even remember. Mm-hmm. They got them for Phil Housley, who wasn't even involved. So I was trying to give them everything I could. It is an all-time fleecing.
They gave away, the Calgary Flames in the late 80s and early 90s gave away some mega talent. Brett Hull, Doug Gilmour are the two that really stand out in my mind. But holy smokes, we got to talk, like the only reason the Flames didn't win 8 cups themselves is because of Edmonton. And and also
go look back at the Flames team that won the cup. Go look at the names, the sheer names.
Obnoxious.
It's not just Lanny McDonald, which is the name everyone seems to remember. I think Theron Fleury was a draft pick of theirs.
Yep.
I don't know if Brett Hull was still on the team. Joe Nieuwendyk was.
Brett Hull wasn't. He was traded in 87, 88.
Gary Roberts was there.
Who did they get from? They got someone good for Brett Hull. Someone good-ish, but not Brett Hull good. But
I think it might have been Joe Nieuwendyk. No, that was Jerome McGinley.
Yes. No. It wasn't that either. They traded Nieuwendyk for Iginla. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it was the opposite. You're right.
Brett Hull, I forget who they got from St. Louis for him. But the Calgary Flames could have coasted until about 1997 had they just, had they held on to Gilmour, had they held on to Hull. They didn't think Hull could skate, and he really couldn't. But the NHL game was slowing down at that point, and it kind of suited him perfectly. I mean, imagine Calgary, which really struggled financially in the mid-90s. And they had guys like, I think they had Robert Reichel, they had Marty St. Louis, they had, some mega talent come in and out of there. Mark Savard. It's amazing when you look back at Calgary and go, boy, there's some real asset mismanagement. Asset mismanagement. And the thing was, St. Louis and Savard were both really good in Calgary, but Calgary after St. Louis, they thought St. Louis was a bit like of a
flash in the pan sort of thing. I want to do an article on. So I did the trade tree for Gilmour. Obviously, I did the Crazy Great Fear trade, and that was giant. Cliff Fletcher was a madman. First Cliff Fletcher. Second Cliff Fletcher thought Jeff Finger was a good idea.
So he was a madman.
yeah, exactly.
So there's madman good, madman bad.
Yes. I am trying to bring it up. Cliff Fletcher. I need to just talk about the sheer impact he had in such a short amount of time. And it's taken me forever to find because, of course, it is. So this is starting. Okay, let's just start from New Year's Day, 1992.
Doug Gilmour.
Yeah, so
he had walked
the
away
next
from
day,
the Flames, by the way.
Yes, exactly. So it was Gilmour, Jamie McCown, Kent Manderville, Rick Natras, and Rick Walmsley for Craig Berube, Alexander Godnyuk, Gary Lehman, Michel Petit, Jeff Reese. February 27th, 1992. Mark Ferner for future considerations, whatever. Another small trade with the Sabres. March 10th, 1992. Leafs acquire Ken Baumgartner and Dave McIlwain, I think, for Claude Loiselle. Daniel Marois. The Leafs got Mark Osborne that same day in a trade with the Jets. They traded another guy for cash in June. And then they trade they get a first and a fourth from Washington for a second, third, and a fourth. And the Grant Fuhr trade is in there. And there was like a 12-month period or a 12 or 18-month period where Fletcher completely overturned the roster, on a scale that even the rebuild that the Leafs just went through, it can't touch it. There's also, Leafs trade Grant Fuhr and a fifth to the Buffalo Sabres. What'd the Leafs get? A first, Darren Pupa and Dave Anderchuk. And the first was Kenny Janssen.
Who, by the way, they gave away. Kenny Janssen would have been great as a Leaf.
Oh, yeah.
He was great as a Leaf. What's that?
I think he
was traded for Wendell Clark.
Oh.
He was traded
for Wendell Clark, but
to
the
get him
Leafs
back.
But the
Then
Leafs
it's worth it.
No, the
No, it
Leafs
wasn't.
also gave up a first-round pick in that trade. That first-round pick ended up being the 4th overall pick in 1997, who ended up being Roberto Luongo.
And also, I believe they traded to New Jersey. I believe they traded the Niedermeyer pick. I think the Leafs had a Niedermeyer
They did,
pick.
but that was... I don't remember if that was pre or post Cliff Fletcher joining for the first time.
Yeah, crazy.
Because he joined in 91, and that was a 91 pick, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that was him.
Anyway, insane. An insane overhaul.
Yeah, go to NHLTradeTracker.com, look up trades by GM, and there's actually 2 categories for Cliff Fletcher under the Leafs.
And let's
go
not
to the 91 to 97
Well,
one.
you think about that. Let's just go through the names. So you got Gilmour, Gartner, Anderchuk.
I forgot about Gardner.
Sundin was brought in, I think, the year after 92-93. I
Yep.
think he was brought in for the Vancouver run. Because they made the
Can't
conference
remember if he
finals twice in a
drafted
row.
Potvin or not. Sundin. Every player you grew up cheering for
Was a Cliff Fletcher
sans
trade.
Clark. Except for Clark, Gilmour, Anderchuk, Sundin, Mike Gardner. I think he was instrumental in bringing over Nikolai Borshevsky, Jamie McCowan, probably Dmitry Yuskevich. Maybe not Stumpy Thomas. I think that was the Pat Quinn era.
It was.
Yeah.
And
So-
Stumpy had played for the Leafs in the 80s when they were terrible and then left and then came
Forgot
back.
about that. Oh, Ty Domi.
Ty Domi.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane what Trader Cliff did. Who is still with the Leafs, by the way.
Yeah. Trader did and then
Never
undid.
left.
He never did. No?
Never.
What's his title?
I don't know if he ever fully left. He's like senior advisor or something like that.
Sit
So-
at home and pay me.
Maybe.
Yeah, just give him his due because you know what? That was one of the better moments in a terrible, terrible stretch of being a Leaf fan. If you told a Leaf fan at the beginning of 1980 what would happen, because the 70s were okay. They were okay. They weren't great, but you're still...
I'm getting itchy. This cup drought's 8 years now. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I can stand it.
So Daryl Sittler's on his way out in the early 80s, if he's not already gone. I think he was gone in 78 or something like that, 79.
Something like that.
Lanny McDonald's gone. Boreas Salming's still there. But you got this guy, I don't know, Rick Vive and some other people like that coming up. If you had told a Leaf fan in 1980 how every season would go up until now, do you think they would have been like, fuck it?
You tell them, okay, you're going to want to take at least a 4-year nap. Or wake up when Wendell Clark is drafted. They're still going to be pretty bad. But
I
they're
want
going
to
to
wake up in 90. I would have wanted to wake up when Doug
In
Gilmour
92?
came. When Gilmour came to town and they changed the jerseys. That's
town. Yeah.
yikes, man. Yikes.
Yikes.
It's just bad. It's so bad. I hate it.
What else we got on the show?
Well-
very, very Leaf heavy show, and I'm trying to think of other things
Hey,
going
guess what?
on in the
You know what
world.
this is? It's a Leaf heavy show.
I know. I'm just trying to be fair.
That's Jesse. How do you feel
Motherfucker.
about fairness?
Fairness?
Yeah.
I believe that we're never fair to anybody.
No.
Speaking of not fair, the
Just
Islanders.
ask anybody that listens.
Exactly.
You know what I just realized, or I realized last night. Almost every time we definitively talk shit about a team, they do great right after. Mm-hmm. I think the Canucks are doing better than expected because of this show. But
So
also,
we're taking credit for this?
100%.
Okay.
Who took a beating last episode? New York Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
Huge beating. What did they do? They beat the Pittsburgh Penguins and tie a record for fastest 2 goals in the process. 2 goals in 3 seconds.
Who was on the first line?
It was Nicky Kuhlman.
I believe Mr. Strome was too.
Was he? Oh, I didn't even notice.
I heard from Islanders fans. So hey,
And Kuhlman, I think, scored one of the 2 goals in the record.
it's Kulemin.
I asked the fucking guy, and he said my inner goddess was dancing the merengue. And oh, sorry.
Hey, so before we get to the press conference, Steve, you kind of hung me out to dry last episode.
Shit.
Jesse, I want to break down a conversation for you.
Shit.
So remember,
Oh, you haven't even told him yet?
you've iced. No, of course not.
Oh, Jesse.
I don't talk to him about these things.
In advance, Merry fucking Christmas.
Is it
So-
Rip Steve time?
Well, here's the Jesse gets excited and sits up. So here's the deal.
Well, I don't know if it's Rip Steve time, but it does wipe off.
So we had
You'll
a
see.
discussion last episode about shaving a butt cheek. And by the way, I only did one. People were like, you shaved your whole ass. No, it was actually half my ass, okay?
Adam's good at half-assing it.
That's right! Home run!
That was good.
That was good.
Very good.
It was really good.
It was a zinger.
So I take Steve down to let him out of the garage here, and just as I'm getting out of his car and he's about to drive home, he's like, "By the way, I totally hung you out to dry there. I naired my ass when I was 18."
What? No, not 18. I wasn't 18. I wasn't. I might have been in grade 8 still, so I would have been
Grade
like
8?
13 or 14. Dude,
You knew what
hair,
Nair,
pants.
You knew what Nair was in grade 8? I didn't know until I worked at Shoppers Drug Mart. I was at least 16.
I don't know. I don't know what I.
Okay,
I don't
run
know.
us down. No,
You're a bad friend.
right? Now, Steve, why did you decide
The
to?
Avalanche placed Eric Jellin on waivers.
Why did you decide to nair your butt?
Because it was super hairy. And I don't know. I thought.
Was it uncomfortable?
I thought girls like
was it
smooth
uncomfortable
butts.
to sit on?
Yeah, of course it was. I thought girls like smooth butts.
I think they do.
I don't know if they can tell through your pants though. How hairy is your ass? Like if it's hairy enough that you can see it through a pair of jeans, then yeah, I would get a chainsaw.
No,
on that.
but what if I was in a scenario where a girl saw my butt?
And it wasn't smooth.
Did you know you in grade 8?
Listen, grade 8 me had dreams.
Eddie George.
All right, had aspirations.
That was, I believe, that's
Aspirations,
where
oh dear.
I believe that's where the Eddie George thing jersey came from, and then you wore it into grade 9.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And
Might
if
have been
you're-
grade 7. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, did you not have a chain on your wallet too? Did you?
Ooh, I don't remember. I think I might have, and it was super short.
Because everybody did at that point.
Yeah. But my question
I also
is,
had Carl Kanai pants with a big metal K that scratched up every wooden chair I sat on.
we were talking about this last episode. Adam's there pouring out his soul, and you're just sitting there.
I wanted to leave. It was really late, and I'm sorry.
I know.
But let me tell you,
Hung out to dry, Jesse.
Hung out to dry. You're
But-
just laundry to him.
I didn't have quite the struggle that Adam did, because at least I had the sense to not shave my ass, but instead to nair it, which doesn't quite have the same itchy side effects.
And the thing was, and I have to give you credit for this, you did it in grade 8. I did it in university. Like,
Yeah, you should definitely be smarter than that by then. Yeah, like you had to apply and get approved for a post-secondary program. I wasn't even in high school yet.
have you guys seen it's an old sketch, I think it's Mad TV, where, you know, at a certain point they were like just adding a bunch of nefarious razor blades to every cartridge pack. So like the Mach 3 came out, and then it became Quattro,
yeah.
and then it was the Cinco, like the 5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it just shows it like shaving through layers of skin.
take your entire
Mad
face
TV
off.
was
Yeah, that was the
great.
Mad TV.
Yeah.
So I realized this after the show when I shaved, it was a 5 razor blade thing that I'd been given for free on the street.
You're just starting up like a gas lawnmower, driving it over your ass.
Your
ass.
your ass, which has never been shaved before. My poor booty. My right cheek has never been the same.
And did you ever do it again?
I never did. Boy, just cuts and scrapes, baby. Cuts and scrapes. How did yours work out? Do you remember? Was there any awkwardness?
I told no one, and because there were absolutely no prospects, no one ever found out. So, yeah, and I don't think it was the whole ass like you. So I just went.
I wasn't the whole ass. I was again.
Or
I
no,
stopped at
sorry.
one.
Like you, it wasn't the whole ass.
Okay.
I was like, let's try a little patch of ass, and then, man,
Patch.
a patch of ass. So I naired my ass. No, I naired a patch of ass. And I thought, you know what? This is smooth and it feels like class. But it must look ridiculous. And it did.
I want to thank everybody who reached out and said, there were several people that reached out with the exact same sentiment. I guess they were all having bad days, and then they were like, it's good to know that someone's life has been worse. And I was like, well, it's true.
So I told Jesse, I'm like, you know what? We got to get more videos on the YouTube channel. And I was just take an excerpt from like any show, whatever you think is the best. Yeah. We talked about so many things, like the Panthers, like that to me would have been the thing to take. Jesse isolates the story of Adam shaving his ass.
This bodes well for potential future sponsors, eh? They're going to be clicking through our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and
let me see what. Like someone's like, you know what? It's the beginning of December. The holiday season's coming. People are going to go shopping. I want to advertise on the Steve Dangle podcast.
Yeah.
Let me just see what they're. Let's see what Merrick and Wyshynski are talking about.
Well, see, Panago's good because I remember the first meeting we had with them, they were like, okay, we're really, really interested. And at this point, I think we had 25 listens an episode, 2,500 listens an episode, which it was about 3-4 months in, and we were still ecstatic. We were like, oh my God, this is crazy. How are this many people listening to the show? And they were like, one thing though, we don't really love the official hashtag of the show.
That's literally the only ask that they've ever had.
Only thing they've ever
Ask.
They said, can it not be hashtag Steve's PP? And we're like, yeah, we think we can grant you that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
we were talking. I think that came out of a stripper story in the first episode. And
Should our new hashtag be Adam's ass?
no, it shouldn't. But Panago's used to it, right? They're used to us just being a little bit weird and being
half-assing it.
And
I am disappointed we never got to see Adam do an episode naked.
well, because we never got 1,000 retweets.
We never got 1,000 retweets.
Remember, if
We didn't?
how many did we get?
Man.
350?
Yeah, we ended somewhere in the 300s.
Because like very shortly, it was like an hour or two after you tweeted that.
It was like 200 something.
Yeah.
I was like, I think we're going to see if Adam's shaved his ass recently.
But Panago's used to all this. I think anybody that comes in and advertises, it would be like, wow. There's a, you know, that friend that you really like, but when you introduce them to other people, it takes some getting used to before they like them too.
Oh, yeah.
What if we get a razor blade company to sponsor us? And then we do an ass shaving segment.
Hey, Dollar Shave Club. Is there a Dollar Nair Club? Nair is scary, man.
Yeah, it just dissolves your hair.
One of the worst
I bet you could use that to
vines.
declog drains.
No.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because that's mostly just hair, right?
It's
Well, wait till you have a girlfriend that lives with you, and she has long hair. 'Cause my fiance's hair.
I was like, does she
going?
nair? And wait, she has long hair. Does she just nair her head?
No, but like her hair falls out.
Okay, you know the scare cam, like all the scare cam vines.
You have a Nair cam.
That was before the mannequin challenge and the backpack challenge.
Owling. Anybody owling? Planking?
Oh, owling! I forgot about that. One guy goes Nair cam, and he just squirts Nair on his buddy's head, and it's falling out in chunks. I'm like, what a dick! That's gonna take a long time to grow back, man,
Yeah.
because that's not shaving.
That's like
It's
when
not
you shave someone's
stubble the
eyebrows.
next day.
Like you're an asshole.
Was that a prank or was it a prank?
A quote
Oh,
like
no,
internet
it looked real. It
Yeah?
looked pretty real.
Okay.
How quickly does it work?
Pretty fucking quick. You leave it on for a few minutes. You go, this shit doesn't work. Then you go, this shit burns a little, and then you wipe it, and it's gone. Gone. Crazy. Don't use it
Okay,
on your ass.
but definitely have a Panago pizza.
have a Panago pizza. It's classy.
Classy, unlike
They
us.
don't half-ass it.
Let's do
They shave the whole ass.
Let's
We
do the
have
press
a
conference.
gift open if you want to do that
Oh,
before.
all right, let's do that. Okay, so this is crazy. Before we do the press conference, Chris Meyer. Now, this is... Americans are definitely not going to know where this is. Inuvik, Northwest Territories. Northwest Territories, by the way, there used to be two territories. There used to be the Yukon Territory and the Northwest Territory. They're not provinces, they're not states, they're territories. They're a part of the country, but they are different because they're very, very lightly populated, a lot of empty space, and really there's protected territory of the Canadian
Doesn't
government.
Yellowknife have like 30,000 people or something like that? And that's like the
think, yeah.
biggest city they got?
Does none of it still exist?
Nunavut's
That's a province.
So they had
Yeah.
the Northwest. No, it's not a province. It's a territory.
I'm pretty sure none of it's a province. Jesse, Google.
But so Northwest Territories used to be that, and then they split it and made Nunavut. So Inuvik is still part of the Northwest Territories. Little geography lesson. Basically, it's above.
I'm pretty sure none of it's a
from.
province.
It's above like Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. So go north and then go norther.
Yeah.
So Chris Meyer sent this to us, and Chris, I guess he contacted you, Jesse.
Yeah, he reached out and just asked what our address is, and I gave it to him, and we got the little
And then
package.
he spent probably $3,000 to ship whatever this is to us.
Have you guys ever seen? Oh my God, this is. You're already gonna love this.
What is it?
I can't even. Give me a sec. Have you seen grocery store pictures from up there? How expensive? Like it's like $40 for a bag of milk. Like it's.
Oh, I believe it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
To get food up there,
Dude,
All right.
even Newfoundland, like there's a noticeable difference at restaurants because it's an island.
Yeah.
Any place where it's hard to get food to. What? It makes sense.
All right. This is Chris, who is not on social media, so we've never heard from him before directly. He's actually mailing us.
Wow.
He said, boys, give this sweater a good home. I'm not a collector, not a hoarder, and I can't wear it anymore. To be shared by all. Underlined. Long live Kim.
So, Steve, don't take this free shit, you bastard.
Steve, it's all yours.
Long live King James.
King James?
First round is on STP, hashtag free shit, hashtag sort of, hashtag free Frankie. That's Chris from Inuvik, Northwest Territories, who is not on social media.
Right.
I believe.
See, I'm thinking maybe LeBron. Oh.
It is!
Hey! Look at that! Look at that!
Steve, you don't have a James Reimer jersey in your
I
possession.
don't have a jersey of any Leaf who is not me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, Felix Potvin.
How do you not have a James Reimer
signed and
jersey?
framed.
That is funny that he doesn't have
Yeah.
one. So this,
I have Ovechkin and Felix Potvin.
this has to go in your next. This has to go in your next video.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
I think we've been talking about for a while putting together like a better studio for the podcast and doing some other things to upgrade the actual viewing part of this because we realize it's like a straight shot and it's in a gray ugly studio. This would be, since it has to be shared by all according to Chris's rules, this should be one of the jerseys we put up when we do our new studio.
There it is. There it is.
Like
That's what we do with it.
But we gotta have Reimer's name showing, don't we? Or do we just want to?
No, you do the back.
I see
Yeah, you do the back.
sometimes.
You gotta
Yeah,
have
the
some-
back.
You gotta have some Reimer in there. Anyway, I'm gonna give this to you, Steve, to hang on to for safekeeping because we know it'll be safest with you.
Ooh,
I know that you'll treasure it because it's James.
I will.
There you go.
will
Otherwise,
treasure
if it was anybody other than James, I'd give it to Jesse.
Far. Let's keep this far.
Because I sure as hell
Hey,
am not.
fuck you.
Hey, I can't take care of stuff. And listen, I know our strengths and weaknesses, my friend.
Oh, fair
And
enough.
they're very
That's good
similar.
coaching.
Yeah,
That's good coaching,
We focus
Babs.
on our strengths. Let's do the press conference.
So I discovered something, and Adam was actually there for it when I discovered something before we get to the press conference. So I was showing him, I made some changes to my Leaf wall, and I was actually going to make a video on it and post it. And I'm like, yeah, here's all the Johnny Bower stuff. Here's where I put the Johnny Bower stuff. Oh, and here's my picture with James Reimer and the famous $60. That's not my James Reimer figure. Where's my James Reimer figure? So I have 2 Morgan Riley figures because Casual Mats gave me one. Shout out. So I have 2 now.
That's cool.
So I'm looking around. I go, where is this James Reimer figure? Did I accidentally hang up the wrong one when I was doing this? I'm looking. I can't find it. And I say to Adam, I go, I think Mrs. Dangle thinks she's slick. So I said later that night, I go, now, you don't have to tell me what you did with it. And I just see her face go,
By the way, she's terrible at surprises.
oh, she sucks. But this was slick. I almost didn't get, if you hadn't have come over, I wouldn't have caught it.
Wow.
I don't think I would have caught it.
So she hung, basically, she just was like, I know he has an extra, so I'm just going to put it there and hope
She
he doesn't
put up
notice.
my Morgan Riley figure, my second Morgan Riley figure, above my other Morgan Riley
So she's
figure.
doing something currently with your James Reimer.
Yeah, I go, you don't have to tell me what you did with it. Just tell me you did something with it so I know I haven't lost it. And she's like, yes.
Oh, man, I can't wait to
So-
find out what it is.
Yeah, so she
Christmas.
didn't ruin anything.
Christmas.
Yeah.
But you didn't ask.
No,
But you didn't ask because she would have told you.
Oh, 100% she sucks at surprises.
Okay.
She's, I've told her she sucks at Christmas. Which, by the way, like she keeps telling me, like, I got you something. I got you another something. Don't check the mail because I think something arrived for you. I'm like, how many things are... Damn it!
Yeah, because when they do that, now you've got to up your game too.
Yes, that's how it works. And I got her an expensive jacket, and she's like, no, you got me that like last year, so don't worry about it. And I'm like, how long is this gonna last?
Yeah.
This is what kind of booby trap are you setting for me? Shut up. I know your tricks.
Caprice and I have decided that we are actually going to go small because we spent a lot of money.
Shut up.
We spent a
Go
lot.
small.
Dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Here's a new car.
All the stuff that goes with
Caprice.
the dog, and then the payment for the dog.
Yeah, until
Dominican
you
street
go,
mix,
you know
for
what?
anybody wondering.
You know what though? She would like this.
Yeah. Until
she-
she says, "Oh, that handbag looks really nice."
Oh, she did say that to me the other day, and I was like, dog,
Are you sure?
there's a crate over there, dog.
Are you sure, Adam?
My parents stuck to it one time because I had a messed up back when I was a teenager, and they got me like this really expensive like Posturepeutic mattress, and they said, "Okay, this is your Christmas gift. You're not gonna get anything for Christmas." And I went, "Fine, good.
Yeah.
I would like it to function again." And so Christmas comes, and I'm like, "Let's see what they got." Like, I'm sure they actually got me something. They're like, "We got you something." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I opened the box. It was a
Chocolate bar?
It was a Nike, light blue Nike T-shirt.
Oh.
And that's it. They got me a T-shirt.
Mattresses are expensive.
Yeah, oh yeah. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, it was really nice of them to give me that T-shirt.
That's several Christmases worth of
Yeah. And
expense.
I needed it.
Of course.
so bad.
Yeah, of course you did. I get
didn't
it.
discover how to fix the problem on my own until I was 27.
Ballistic Matt wants to know. Speaking of Caprice,
Ballistic Matt.
Adam,
Yeah.
is it possible that Caprice is a closet Habs fan? I mean, her name is almost Carey Price.
Whoa!
I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, she might.
I'm gonna
I'm
gonna get the audio. I will ask.
I will go a step further. I think Adam is a closet Habs fan.
What?
After all, he
Excuse
kept
me?
it secret from me for so long that he's got a little bit of Quebecois in him. So he's got this Quebec.
Adam's
Yeah, you do.
25%
You got.
French.
Isn't your dad a Habs fan or something?
No, my dad was born in Montreal in the Anglo section.
Where was he born?
You're not Quebecois then, Adam?
No, he's
it's
an
just so
Anglo.
strange because my Nona was Italian, which therefore kind of makes me Italian. Your dad was from Montreal, which makes you
In the 50s, when there was a
Not
much bigger
from-
Anglo population in Montreal before they started kicking them out.
It's so weird
You're
when
from
your
Com-
parents are born somewhere and then you're also from there. Because I think that's how it works.
Jesse. Where are your parents from?
My father is from Trinidad.
Oh,
So, like,
so you're Trini.
I'm part Trini.
No, I think that actually makes you from Romania.
Oh, yeah. Because
Now we get to just decide our heritage. We
Yeah.
just get to decide where we're from. So,
Well, it means
Old,
I'm Quebecois and Pennsylvanian.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Not
Old
Torontonian, that's
Adam
for sure.
Wild
Well-
over here, and his fiancée. Oh, there's another one. There's a French word. Fiancé.
I bet he's going to leave here and eat a baguette.
Probably.
I would. I
That
freaking
French
would.
boy.
I would. I'd
Go
eat a
home
baguette.
and have a nap under his Pepe Le Pew poster.
You going to go watch Emily after this?
Wow.
Just do all your French
What a
things?
reference.
You
Oh
gonna
my
watch Télé Français there, buddy? You gonna maybe have a nice little sing along with a pineapple? You know how many
was his name,
non-Canadians are so
Lanana?
confused right now? Yeah, la, which is just pineapple.
Anyway, so we figured it out.
All right.
Carey Price loving fiance over here.
Caprice. That's funny. I didn't even think about that. Well done, Ballistic Matt.
Hey,
This
Steve.
explains a lot because his I was gonna say his previous girlfriend's name was Altoya. Not smart, not clever. We'll work on
I
it.
don't even know what that is.
Al Montoya. Carey
Oh,
Price's
you mean her
backup.
name was Altoya?
They're not
You're
all going to
making
be
this
home
up.
runs.
You're not actually
They're not gonna-
pertaining this to an
It would
ex-girl.
have been a lot better if it was an actual girl.
You're Justin Smoke every time he goes up to the plate.
Sometimes Edwin walks it off. Other times he throws the bat into the third baseline.
Fair.
You know?
Okay.
Hey, Steve. Are you glad that you missed out on dating as a teenager? Because I feel like you haven't told everyone else.
Hey, what's your name? What's this guy's name?
Polyphona Crusader. That's their Reddit name.
Okay, Paul. Don't take your frustration in dating out on me just because I got lucky,
Hey,
okay?
Steve.
What? Look, it was years of me going, I just wish someone would like me.
If you had a
And then
choice-
someone did and I lucked out,
If you
okay?
had a choice of dating and not dating, what would you have taken?
I probably wouldn't do it. I probably wouldn't date.
That's a shock.
I'm shocked. Now,
You know what, Paul? I also like the Leafs.
have you ever
Why
canoed?
don't you go, hey,
Have
Steve,
you ever-
we're going to talk about the Leafs? Fuck
have
you,
you
Paul.
have you ever canoed to Alberta?
Oh, you fuck. You know what? The second Connor Brown blocked that shot in the Oilers game and it looked like he might not play, I'm like, who's laughing now, Adam? piece of shit.
Leafs are like, okay, we'll put Levo on the plane.
Levo is hurt, allegedly.
We got another question from another weird Reddit name.
Is it also from an asshole?
All Flesh His Grass writes, "Hey pals, I'm a relatively new listener and fairly new to hockey in general.
Oh, hi, welcome.
I have recently become aware of how handsome Joffrey Lupul is.
Very handsome.
I realize it's obviously not your job to let me know who is and who is not handsome, but I'm wondering, who would you consider?
Aaron Ekblad.
Who would you consider
Aaron
the
Ekblad.
handsomest player in the NHL?
Aaron Ekblad is for sure.
Joffrey
up there.
definitely was, for sure.
Henrik Lundqvist, if you're into like an aged.
Eric Carlson.
But damn, he just
Eric
glows.
Carlson. My fiance, I'll say that Caprice is totally obsessed with Eric Carlson and his now fiance.
I think he's a specific taste though, because I think some girls would find him gross.
Well, if you're into D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers, because
is that a French word?
It's a French
Carlson,
name.
Ottawa. A lot of French people from Ottawa. Ottawa has a lot of those
secretly French.
French
Conspiracy is going to be great. I can't wait for more theories to come up from this.
We need one of those YouTube videos where it's a dude narrating and just slideshow pictures.
And Andrew's going to be so disappointed.
you know what? That explains why every time like I walk in on Adam when he's in another room, he's on the phone going, je suis omelette du fromage. Oh, I'll have to call you back. Hangs up. He puts on his English accent. I think it's all a front. J'accuse, Frenchie.
See, he was whiffing on a lot of balls in the strike zone, and then he got a big set.
J'accuse was good.
Yeah, you ended up with a nice double.
No one was talking about Rajay Davis's batting average when he hit that home run in the 8th, were they? No. Oh fuck! Come on, guys. Getting towards the end of the show.
You know when you go too far.
You know when you can go fuck yourself?
I love you, man. I love you.
Name another goal Yui Krupp scored. I can't, but he scored a Stanley Cup winning goal.
That's right, and it got him a 4-year contract in Detroit where
You bet your balls.
he was like, I'm injured, guys. And then they showed up on ESPN.
Oh, I don't remember that.
What would you get Don Cherry for Christmas? It's from Nick W18.
What would I get Don Cherry for Christmas? An IKEA gift card. And he would have to appreciate all the wonderful things Sweden has to offer.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, yeah.
Okay, I get it.
A Matt Cook jersey.
I'd bring him to my ancestral homeland, Quebec, and make him spend a night at the Chateau. What is it in Quebec City? The Chateau.
Yeah, did you see Adam when the second you brought up Don Cherry, he went, "Phew."
I did. And I'd make him wear a visor, and we'd walk around. We'd walk around Quebec City, which is beautiful, and that's what we would do. We would do that. We would wear visors, and that's all I got. I got nothing. I'm tired. I'm not sleeping much. I have a dog in the house now.
All right, final
new
question.
parents listening are like, "Oh, Muffin."
You got a dog.
Or sorry.
It was crying as I laughed. I was
so
sad.
hard.
It was sad.
Oh, do you have a petit chien?
Petit chien.
We should also
Oui,
mention
monsieur.
that Adam's on vacation.
Oh, vacation.
So you got plenty of
Vacances.
time.
Vacances.
Oh,
I think it's vacances.
Arrête.
A final question. This is for Steve.
Oui.
If I already liked all your videos and subscribed to your channel and told all my friends about it,
Oui.
how am I supposed to show my appreciation?
Merde.
I don't even know what that means.
Mail me money. No. Okay, so what? List those things again.
So they've already liked your video. They subscribed to the channel, told all their friends about it, and now they're wondering how they can keep supporting you.
Now you got to subscribe to the podcast channel.
What if they already did that?
Well, they're obviously already listening.
Yeah.
Then you wait for your next assignment.
I think
They're looking to support Steve Dangle, and they've done everything
Hey,
they can.
buy some merch.
here's
we got a
what
shitload
you
of
do.
merch. You should buy a
ready?
Deep Dish Streets shirt.
I'm going to answer this.
Lay it on us.
I'm going to answer this
Yeah,
one.
go ahead, Gaston. Answer it. Go ahead, Jacques.
Bon anniversaire.
Go ahead, Guillaume. Yeah.
Headbutt someone over there, Wild.
Still my favorite Family Guy clip of all time. Besides the not as bad as.
Oh my God, Tim McGraw.
I think the thing to do is to keep, if you can, keep listening, keep commenting, keep liking, keep responding. You know, like that's the thing. The true mark of anything great, I think in the internet age, is not even how many likes it has, it's how many comments. How many people are emotionally moved enough to respond, to actually take time out of their life and go, blah. And I'm not talking
the comment section back.
Yeah.
Everyone associates the comment section with awful bullshit. Take it back.
Well, I have to say, our comment sections are usually pretty good. And
Ours are good.
I read them from time to time, and that's because our the audience we attract is good, and also we're not on Facebook. We're not on Facebook.
So I was featured on Russian Machine Never Breaks because of my Ovechkin video, and I looked at the comments just to see if there were a bunch of Capitals fans going, fucking, like, who cares? This guy's some Leafs fan. We don't care. And every single comment was nice.
Yeah.
I texted Ian, I go, how did you do that? You have a website on the internet and it's only full of nice people. How did you do that?
It can be done.
Can be done.
Mm-hmm.
We're aiming for it.
I think
You guys are great.
Yeah, I think
good.
honestly, just the fact that you're here is great. I don't know. I always look at this show especially and kind of think like it's sort of it's awesome. It's awesome the way that I would rather, like, you know, I love the fact that we get corrected by people all the time. I love the fact that I am constantly pushed into new viewpoints. Like you have to think of things a lot differently. Nouveau. Correct.
Every time Adam says a word where I'm like, I know the French word for that. I gotta point it out.
I mean, that's enough, right? The fact that you're listening is great. You know, and we're trying to, I mean, and I know, Steve, I know how hard you work on those videos.
So hard.
You're not being serious with me right now, but you do work very hard.
I thought that was an opportunity for me to be modest, and I was like, no. Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to take a French person seriously. Let's be honest.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to take him seriously.
My entire family's from like England and moved to
Where's your dad from?
England? Or however? I don't even know.
He's from Montreal.
Thank you.
What's that?
In Montreal.
Who plays in Montreal?
You know he's
what?
hitting that T really hard. Like I think
Montreal?
I think he's trying to compensate.
You know what? Can all the Canadians fans get behind me a little bit here and be like, no.
Oh,
First off,
do
no.
Canadians?
Second, you're welcome here. I'm sure the Canadians fans would gladly welcome me over, even though I'm a Leaf fan. I would be.
Are you a Leaf fan?
I am a Leaf fan.
Get out of my face, Adam. Get out of my visage.
Okay.
That's French for face.
We're going to wrap this up.
Set up your own French word.
Why don't you go near your ass?
You know what?
Keep swinging, Justin Smoke.
Mercredi. I am not Justin Smoke.
So next episode.
Do you mean I can hit both ways? There you go.
Next episode, Chris Johnson will be on for the Leafs 30% report because they're 30% way through the season about. And
Is that what we're calling it?
that's how awkward. You know what? You'll remember it because it's weird. Jesse will not be here, but he will be in Vancouver
Are
on.
you guys gonna email me the episode?
Yeah, that's what we're
gonna
gonna do.
Post it?
No, we're emailing it to you because I don't know what to do.
Well, I'll email it to you in English. And then Adam can do his thing.
We are a two-language country, sir, so we have to by law. And Jesse, so you're gonna miss that episode, but Chris Johnson will be on to talk about the Leafs and talk a little bit more about stuff going on in the NHL.
On Saturday, I'll be at the Leafs Canucks game.
Mm-hmm. You mean you'll be at the Leafs game in Vancouver?
Yes. I'll be wearing a Leafs jersey and I'll be yelling, "Toronto is the greatest city on earth." And I'll probably send out a tweet first intermission or something, and we can all take pictures if you want to take a picture with me.
And also...
And you do. The answer is yes.
A quick thing I think we should bring up, because I think people would be like, why didn't you mention this on the show? Hunter Ryan Singh.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. And he was great last night.
Yeah, became the first Sikh making his English hockey broadcasting debut tonight and then the tweet cuts off. I assume Hockey Night for Sportsnet.
Well, no, he did it last night.
Yeah, it was last night.
Yes. Yeah, that's what
That's it, right?
Yes, that is it.
Yeah.
Debut for the Leafs and Flames game. There it is. I'm sorry.
He was great.
Of course he was great.
Solid as hell.
I worried about him a little bit because after
man.
What?
Nerves.
Well, no. I didn't worry for his performance. It was the Benino thing. I'm like, okay, I don't want that to be all he's known for. This guy has had a broadcasting career before Benino scored that goal. He should have one after and not just be the I didn't do it kid. You know what I mean? And now, damn, he is doing it. Good for him.
Doing it big.
Doing it big.
Doing it well.
And Nick Bonino, also still good.
Also still doing it. Thank you, Steve.
Listen, I just tried to be nice, or as you would say, whatever French for nice is.
Have a great one, guys. We'll see you Monday. It's going to be a Monday episode. And Jesse again will be at the Leafs game in Vancouver, and I will be at the Tampa Bay game versus the Canucks.
Are you?
I believe on Thursday next week. So come see me there.
Go see Adam Wild.
It's the Steve Dangle podcast tour without Steve.
Will not be there. I will not be anywhere, apparently.
Steve will be in Oshawa.
Yeah, he'll be with Iggy.
Oh, here, you know what you can do? Tweet at Reporter Chris and go, hey man, can't wait for the 30% report.
Yeah, do that. Please do that.
Like en masse. Like I want you to. I want it to stop being fun for him very quickly.
Yeah.
Like make it super annoying.
Super excited to see the 30% report. Tweet him any picture that pertains to 30%. Any 30% sort of connection that you can make. Do it. And I know we have the most creative people in the world on the internet. We've got peak internet people who can handle this.
Peak internet people.
These are there's some good Twitter out there for this show. It's awesome.
You know what's great? It's only 28% through the season, so we are kind of lying. Should we say the 28%?
No, it's the 30%.
Should we end this podcast right fucking now?
Right.
Now.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.